Now before we go putting all this together, I need to test these circuits and make sure that everything works. I've already tested the first bank of LEDs.
This channel is made possible in part by Morning Fame, smarter analytics to simplify YouTube growth. Use the link on your screen right now to get your first month free. And by TubeBuddy, your best friend on the road to YouTube success. Use the affiliate link on your screen to sign up today.
I want to show you what's going on here. So I have just a basic blink sketch loaded into the Arduino, and I actually need to, I'll just leave it like that, that's fine. So I have these three banks of LEDs. Uncommon, common, input. So what I'm doing here, essentially, is we're going to run 5 volts out of the Arduino into the 5-volt rail on the little guy here. I probably should do this with alligator clips, but where are my alligator clips? Yeah, they are. So, for sake of argument, I think the best way to do this is just to tap into the 5-volt line somewhere like that, where there's not really any possibility of grounding it. And then we'll tap on the ground over here at the end. Oh, there's an open spot right there that I can tap into. Right here, perfect. There we go. So now I should have 5 volts across these two. Yeah, there we go. So I got 5 volts going across those two. And they're mostly lit up. They're mostly lit up. So some of them are kind of weak. And I'm finding that just some of the solder joints are a little weak. And so I need to go through each one individually and check it for function, for continuity. So we just do this. So like, and it's sending a blink signal on 2, so it should, when you plug it in, just start blinking, which is fine. That's what we want. So that's fine. That's good. See, that doesn't work. That one does not work. That is on 2. So that has some kind of ground fault, most likely on the transistor. Oh, so then go through each one, give it a nice close inspection, and just kind of take my utility knife and just kind of reinforce that separation there. There's a little bit of this, like the flux kind of gets in there and it's like it grounds a little bit. This solder is probably as old as I am. I pulled it out of my toolbox. My grandfather had it, and my dad never used it. He's like, "Here, have some solder to do your soldering projects with." I'm like, "Okay, cool." It's great solder. It's freaking leaded solder, and it freaking flows like nobody's business. It's awesome. There's a stupid fly in here. Oh, see, there's the problem right there. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. I can zoom in, but you can't see it. Maybe I can do that digitally in post. But yeah, this is totally bridged right there. So you just scrape that crap right off. And dollars to donuts, that's what was causing the ground fault. There's a little bit right here too. So I just have to go through with the knife and just scrape all the nastiness off, all the junk from this 30-year-old solder. Hey, if you're gonna build a retro computer, use retro components, right? I mean, I could have put an 8080 in there, but maybe I will do like a proper. Maybe I'll do a proper retro computer here once I've kind of got like my backlog done. I'll do a proper retro computer, like actually out of retro parts. Maybe a Z80 or a maybe a Z80, or maybe just a. I'd love to have a 286. Like, that was my first like proper computer that I actually used for things other than playing games. It was this old 286 Acer that my parents bought it for me when I was in 6th grade, so 94-ish. And they bought it secondhand from my elementary school best friend. They bought it from his parents, who were trying. They wanted to get rid of it because they were upgrading, and my parents, wanted me to have a computer to do schoolwork on because they saw the value in that. In the early 90s, coming along, they saw, like everybody else, they saw the value, the education value in having a computer in the house. They weren't going to use it. They never used it. But they certainly wanted me to be able to learn and use one. I was already pretty decent with basic programming at the time, having spent so many Saturdays and so many days in the summertime at my friend's house, literally learning to program. Like, that's what we did. Like, that's what we did for fun. He had this whole back catalog of 321 Contact magazines, and in the back of the 321 Contact magazine, there was a little basic program that you could copy over to your computer and run it. It was a little little application of sorts. Usually is a game, and so we spent a lot of Saturdays, a freaking lot of Saturdays, and just days in the summertime or whatever, entering programs from the back of a 321 Contact magazine, and it was awesome. I loved it, and that was so much of my early childhood, but yeah, so much of my elementary school years. I would love to. And it was actually that computer that we used, that computer that we were using to write those programs and into those programs. That was the computer they sold me, and really great, and I loved it, and it was awesome, and I knew the machine because I'd used it for so long, and it was just perfect, and I just learned more about it. And I would love to build I don't want to build a full size because it's too big. Like, this isn't even going to be a full size Altair. This is like, it's like 98% the width of an Altair, and it's like 10% the depth of an Altair. Because the Altair had like, you know, card, these big, huge cards in the back, and these big, huge cards, and they, and this one, because it's really just the front panel, and everything else is on the Arduino. Everything's running off the Arduino. The Arduino is doing all of the hardware emulation, and all the processing and everything is being done on the Arduino, and the exterior, the front panel, is the only thing that's really a simulation. That's the only thing that's like, you know, regular size, with the switches and everything. So this isn't even like a full-scale replica, full-scale model. This is a replica. Safety third. This is a replica that is, the idea is to be able to do a lot of the things that you could do on the Altair without having like a 600-pound computer that's humongous, taking up a whole lot of space, because I don't have that much space, neither here in the shop/studio or at home even. So all of my computing is really done on small form factor things. Like I don't even have my retro games out. I don't have my Nintendo. I don't have my Super Nintendo, my Genesis. I don't have any of that stuff out because I don't have room for it. The full size stuff. So I have the minis. I have the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and I have those, and they're in their little cases in the living room. So I can easily just pop them out, plug them in, and play, and then put them away. And it's it's a lot easier than, you know, I just run the HDMI cable across the living room, and that's a heck of a lot easier than having to, you know, run the RF cable, the coaxial, the modulator, all that stuff. Trying to run that into the back of the TV and having to have the inputs for it. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot more convenient. So what I want to do, back to the point at hand, what I want to do is I want to put together an old 286 style machine, which I will probably do through DOSBox, because that machine, it was all DOS. It ran DOS. Everything was DOS. I had a DOS shell on there, which was really cool. I love DOS shell because it was like Windows, but not Windows. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like an old netbook, because I got a stack of netbooks that I got from NUC. I got a stack of old netbooks from NUC, and that's the National Upcycle Computing Collective. For those of you not in the know, I'll put a link to a video up, and you can check them out. nucinc.org. Anyway, so I got a whole bunch of old machines from them that they were just going to dispose of because they were junk. They were just garbage machines. They couldn't do anything with them anymore. Like they don't even really do for Boink. So I may take one of those machines and install. I'm not going to install FreeDOS or anything like that on there. What I'll probably do is I'll put DOSBox on it. I'll put DOSBox on it, and it'll just boot to DOSBox, which will make things much easier, just faster, streamlined kind of experience. Like if I want to jump in and play Mixed Up Mother Goose. When I'm jumping and play Mixed Up Mother Goose, all I'm going to do is just jump in, and like it'll be DOSBox, and then DOSBox will boot to DOS Shell, and I can just play Mixed Up Mother Goose straight out of DOS Shell like I did 20 years ago. So that's the idea anyway. That's probably what I'm going to do. That's going to be another project coming up. You'll probably see that probably Q2 2019. That's probably when I'll get to that. That's when you'll see the video for that. Because I am pretty much booked with releases through the end of 2018, through the end of this year. So look for that. Second quarter next year. I'm actually getting to a point where I can do videos more often. It's really cool. I can actually have releases weekly, and that's a huge thing for me. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I have not had the ability to do so because of my work schedule. Holy crap, look at that oxidation on there. This is already freaking like covered in cuprous oxide. That is amazing. That is highly caustic crap. I love it.